Good morning.
Morning. My name is Neal Haskell, Neal, Haskell.
And is it Mr. Haskell or Dr. Haskell?
Dr. Haskell worked fine.
Sure. Dr. Haskell, would you tell the jury, please, how you presently are employed?
I'm employed as a professor of forensic science and biology at St. Joseph's College in Rensselaer, Indiana. I'm also a private international forensic entomology consultant.
And if you would just kind of give us your educational background that led you up to your present profession.
Studying entomology in my undergraduate days, I received a Bachelor of Science degree in entomology in 1969. Went back to graduate school later on, received a Master of Science degree in forensic entomology in 1989, and then completed a Doctor of Philosophy degree in 1993, again in forensic entomology.
Where did you get your various degrees?
Oh yes, Purdue University in West Lafayette, Indiana.
The PhD also?
All three degrees spread over 4 decades.
Slow down a little bit. Yes. All 3 degrees from the same institution is what I asked.
Yes. Sorry, I'll try to speak slower too. All 3 degrees were from Purdue University.
Pardon me. Can you tell us a little bit about your experience in the practice of forensic entomology since obtaining your degrees?
Lots of experience even before I obtained my degrees, but after I got my master's and PhD specifically in forensic entomology, I've worked cases worldwide, in excess of 850 cases. Done a lot of work in, of course, in this country. I think I've qualified as an expert witness in 27 or 28 states and in Canada, and even had the opportunity to testify in the Ontario Court of Appeals in Canada. Worked, as I said, cases from Australia to Germany to England, Spain, Belize, Mexico, and Canada, of course.
Have you ever worked on cases in the state of Florida?
Yes, I have. I've done somewhere around 40 or more cases from Florida.
And have you ever been qualified to testify as an expert in the area of forensic entomology in courts in Florida?
Yes, I've testified, been under oath in depositions, in hearings or in trials about a dozen times.
Are you also a farmer?
Yes, I am.
And a rancher?
Used to have cattle and horses. Don't do that anymore.
Right. At this time, Your Honor, I would submit Dr. Haskell as an expert in the field of forensic entomology.
What says the defense? Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the doctor will be accepted as expert witness in the field tendered. You may continue.
Since we've used the word forensic entomology a couple of times, could you explain to the jurors what that field means?
Forensic entomologist is an entomologist using entomological practices that have been standardized for centuries in a setting where we are dealing with courts and testimony and those kind of things.
Just in case someone doesn't know what entomology means, explain that for us.
Entomology is the study of insects, and it's a very fascinating field. There's so many different critters out here to study, and the forensic aspect of it kind of focuses on some major groups, flies, some of the fly groups and beetle groups, which are fascinating in themselves.
Now, were you contacted at some point in 2008 from someone at the Orange County Sheriff's Office about the possibility of examining some evidence involving the investigation of the death of one Caylee Marie Anthony?
Yes, I was.
When were you first contacted by someone with law enforcement?
I think it was in either late August or early September.
Right. And did you discuss, who contacted you?
Well, I had opportunity to talk with Michael Vincent with the evidence, and had some conversation with him regarding the possibility of entomological evidence being present in this case.
And would those initial discussions have been involving a vehicle that was related to the early part of the investigation?
Yes.
When was the first time that you received Did you receive some evidence from Mr. Vincent to examine at some point?
Yes, initially I wanted to verify that we had forensically important insects, and so he said, well, there's bugs in the car. And so he sent me the samples. He collected some samples, and I wanted to see what we had to verify if, in fact, these were forensically important insects. So he sent me a couple samples that contained larvae and maggots, larvae, and pupae, the cocoon stage of the life cycle of flies, the higher flies. And that was what was in the two samples that he sent me at that time.
And approximately when did you receive the first two samples?
Again, I think it was sometime in September.
After you looked at those, did you have additional discussions with Mr. Vincent about the possibility of additional evidence being sent? Right.
The problem with the group was Foridae, the humpback flies or coffin flies or scuttle flies. The common names aren't really too important, but it was the family Foridae, which contains a couple hundred species or different kinds in North America. Well, the problem is that it's very difficult to identify the species unless we have an adult of the species. So I asked Michael if there was any possibility that he might have materials that would contain adults of these specimens. And he was thinking for a minute. He said, well, I remembered a lot of these specimens, larvae and pupae, being on evidence that was in the trash bag in the car. And so it had been sealed and stored, I think back in August or September, or August anyway, when they had done the initial inventory. And I said, well, it's worth a shot. He said there was a lot of stuff in there, and my thought was that if it's sealed up, then the adults can't get out, so the adults should be in there. So he sent them up, and so I did additional work going through and examining those materials. There were some napkins, napkins, or not napkins, paper towels, and the trash bag itself. And we found a number of adults, 15 or 20 adults. And so we had the means then to do a positive identification of those specimens.
Let me stop you for a second.
I need a glass of water, some water. Hot down here. Thank you.
Let me show you State's Exhibit in Evidence 126. Ask you, is this the item you just mentioned you were sent, the napkin which contained the specimens? If you need to open it, go right ahead.
Okay. Yeah. Yep. That's it.
All right. Now, when you received this item, you said that you did find some entomological evidence.
Yes, I did.
So what did you find?
Literally hundreds of these very tiny phorid flies. And once I contacted an expert out in LA County at the museum, Brian Brown, who is an expert in these particular flies. I sent him some adults of the specimens, and then I retained larvae and puparia, the puparia again being the cocoon stage of the life cycle, and sent him the adults for positive identification. And he sent me back identification stating that
I believe it's part of his opinion in the case, Your Honor.
Overrule at this point.
Just, if I may, as a predicate,
Right.
is this the kind of information that someone in your field would normally use in developing an opinion?
absolutely.
All right. Go ahead.
It was the species of this group known as Megacelia scalaris, and in his report to me, he stated that it would be found regularly in decomposition, human cases and other animal cases of human and animal decomposition. They're very, very common in that.
Now, what you've just told us about where these particular variety of flies are found, is that just from him, or is that from your own knowledge as well?
Oh, well, I've had 30-some cases where we've had forward flies. Some of my most noted cases, high-profile case from Vegas a few years ago with solely the...
Proper bolstering.
That's fine. Thank you. I'm sorry. Now, so I just wanted to establish that the knowledge you're giving us about the particular fly is from your own knowledge, not from what you were told by some other expert.
No, in addition, it supported what I already knew.
Very good. Now, the flies, you said, describe how it is that, you found them, how you opened up the paper towels, what the process was, and where they were.
There were specimens in the bag itself, in the white plastic bag, and then there was a bag containing these paper towels. And so I started going through, there were a number of paper towels, I don't recall how many, but a number. And I started gently pulling them apart, and obviously there were abundance of puparia and larvae, all of them dried, of course, and dead.
Let me interrupt. What is a puparium?
Puparia is the cocoon stage of the life cycle of a complete metamorphosis, complete life cycle insect. It is a cocoon stage. We call it in the flies the puparium.
Okay, thank you. But go ahead. I just wanted to get that defined.
So as I'm opening these paper towels, I'm noticing that there is an abundance of larvae and puparia, and I even found some adults, a few adults, on these paper towels. As I shook them out into, individually shook them out into a white porcelain pan so we could see them, because these are very small, white porcelain pan, and they're very small. Larvae are anywhere from maybe 1 millimeter to 3 or 4 millimeters, and millimeter being somewhere around or 4 millimeters being around about a 1/16 to an 1/8 of an inch, very, very small.
Now, when you opened up the towel and you found all of these, or the towels or napkins, whatever you want to call them, and you found all this puparium, did there seem to be something on the towels that the flies were attracted to?
Yes, I associated the presence of the flies with the presence of a substance that was on the towels.
And what did you recognize the substance on the towels to be?
Well, I thought it was a good possibility because the flies were there, the larvae were there, obviously feeding and completing their life cycles, that it most likely was decompositional fluid.
Did you do anything in order to further that belief that it could be decompositional fluid?
Absolutely. We go to the next step, and that was to suggest that, or request that this material be analyzed by somebody that could analyze this type of material.
And did you send this item to Dr. Arpad Voss at the Oak Ridge National Laboratory?
Yes, I did.
And did you receive back, did you learn what his evaluation of those was? And did you use that in your opinion?
Yes, he stated that the material was adipocere. The eventual breakdown of fluids that originate from decomposing material.
This witness is attempting to testify as to findings of Dr. Voss and exactly what his findings are.
Objection overruled.
Are you familiar from your own work in what adipocere is?
Absolutely.
Is that something that you frequently deal with in your forensic entomological evaluation of crime scenes?
Absolutely.
All right, so you have looked at the flies, you have gotten the report back from Dr. Voss. What is the next thing that you do in the case?
Well, in this particular case, we had some timelines with regards to the whereabouts of these paper towels and this bag. And so I started to make the determination of the impact of decomposition, impact of the temperatures and impact and presence of these insects at a different given times. Okay, when would we have expected to see these, given that we have decomposition present? And so I developed a timeline based on what I had used entomologically in my analysis.
Now, in addition to the the Megacelia scalaris, that's the majority of the tiny flies that you found, did you find any other entomological evidence in your examination of the evidence from the trunk?
In these paper towels was a leg, only a leg, and I can't tell you which leg, because there are 6 of them on an insect. It was a leg of a fly that we find one of the species of a group of a flies, which we find almost all the time on forensic cases, and that was the blowfly. It was a leg of a blowfly. There are about 90 different kinds of blowflies in North America, and they're regionalized to some degree. And so it was a leg of what I believed one of the southern species of blowflies that were present at that time of year.
Now, the flies that you found in the trunk, are any of them forensically specific to human decomposition?
No.
Are these flies frequently found in cases of human decomposition,
Yes.
but also in cases of non-human decomposition?
Right.
Are these, particularly the Megacelia scalaris, is that also a common fly for even non-mammalian decomposition?
That's correct. The Megacelia scalaris is it likes to feed on about anything.
All right. Now, you understand from the, let me rephrase that. Let me present to you a hypothetical that the body of a young child was stored in the trunk of that car for a period of time and then removed and deposited in another location. Does that fit with the entomological evidence you found?
Absolutely.
Okay, can you tell the jury how it fits?
Well, as at the time of death, decomposition begins, and it progresses through different stages. Or I don't like to specifically say this is stage oriented, but there's a progression as the tissues of the body go from one biochemical and change to another and to another and to another throughout the whole progression of decomposition. The interesting thing about this and the insects is that associated with these different biochemicals and the changes in the biochemistry of the body decomposing, we have different insect groups coming in and feeding at that particular time. The term we use is partitioning of the food resource, and it's a well-known ecological survival mechanism for different organisms. And so the blowflies are one of they're the bright, shiny green and iridescent blue-colored flies that you'll find around trash cans and around the dead deer that's laying out along the highway. And they're usually the first ones in. They're there if the body is accessible and the conditions are favorable. They're there almost immediately, within seconds to minutes if the temperatures are high. And you have plenty of high temperatures down here in Florida. As that body progresses in decomposition stages, the biochemistry changes. And so there's a point where, well, the mother blowfly is no longer interested in that food resource. Mother flies, whether you're a blowfly or whether you're a humpback fly, a forward fly, mother fly is interested in getting her next generation started by laying eggs on a reasonable food source that she thinks that can support her next generation. So there will be a point where mother blowfly says, hey, this is changed too much biochemically. So I'm going to go out and find a fresh kill deer, a roadkill deer, or I'm going to find a little mouse that's out here and it's freshly dead, and I'm going to put my eggs on there, and that's where the next generation is going to come from. And so as the blowflies drop out, for instance, other groups will kick in. And the forward flies are a group that it comes early, but not as early as the blowflies, for instance. And so there will be some decomposition to have progressed to before the forward flies would really be interested in calling this the home for the next generation.
And how advanced does decomposition have to be for the forward flies to become the more dominant fly?
Well, with my experience with the forwards, we can see them, particularly in the heat of the summer, we can see them within just a few days, or they may come much later, weeks, even months later. And the interesting thing about the forward flies are that they're very tiny. As I related the size of the larvae, mother fly is not very big. Anywhere from the group can be as small as 1 millimeter in length to maybe 4 or 5 millimeters in length. Maybe a few that could be a little bit larger, but the particular species that we're dealing with is a very, we would call them gnat-sized flies, and they have this tremendous ability to get through cracks, get through very small openings. I've seen them work down through cracks or recovered them under concrete that had just a few cracks in it. They had gotten down and developed larvae and or adults, and it's amazing where they can get into and how they can get into things. But they come a little later in the decompositional process.
So in this circumstance, you found a relative absence of the early first decomp flies.
Overrule at this point. Wait till you finish asking the question, and doctor, do not answer the question until I instruct you to answer the question.
And a greater number of the slightly later decomp flies. What does that tell us about whatever was decomposing in this trunk?
Just a second, doctor. Is there an objection now?
Yes, sir. I would still say that's leading.
Overrule. You may answer the question, doctor.
Thank you, Your Honor. It tells me that the body would have had to been deposited very quickly into the trunk, and the first flies that come would have had to been excluded. And as decomposition progressed, these little tenacious forward flies found a way to get in and begin colonizing in the trunk of the car.
Have you had experience in the past in dealing with bodies that were decomposing in trunks of cars?
Yes.
And have you found in your experience that trunks do exclude the blowflies, the very early flies?
They have. The blowflies are pretty tenacious too, and it depends on, of course, it depends on whether you got a junky old car with rust holes in it, or whether you have a well-made car that can exclude. I've seen exclusions. I've seen access in trunks also by the blowflies, but there seems to be obviously a delay in those blowflies getting in.
What would the effect of wrapping the body in, say, a plastic bag or two? Would that have the effect of lessening the amount of the early flies?
Oh, absolutely. I've done experiments where there's been a question: was this victim in a plastic bag or not? And we found that if the plastic bag is totally closed at the mouth, tied off and or wraps, it can delay several days, and it may delay to the point where the body had, and the pigs in our experiment, had decomposed to the point where, again, the blowflies are no longer interested and went someplace else.
Was there any other entomological evidence of significance sent to you from the trunk?
To my recollection, no.
Were you able, based upon the entomological evidence you found, to come to an opinion or an estimate of the amount of time that if there was a body with a decomposing material, would have been in the trunk of the car?
Well, in my opinion, the decomposing material, well, the source of the decomposing fluids, in my opinion, that were in the trunk, could not have been in the trunk very long because of the heat of Florida at that time of year. And obviously, whatever was in the trunk had to be out of the trunk by the time the vehicle was abandoned. And in doing some calculations based on energy units and decomposition, I was able to make an estimate that 3, 4, 5 days in the trunk of that car with that heat would have certainly produced enough of the purged fluids from the remains to have had the amount that would have been present to attract the forward flies that we had, these little minute flies that we had on these paper towels in the trunk of the car.
You mentioned about the significance of heat. What is the significance of heat in this process?
The flies, the insects, and all the arthropods, the group that of insects are in, are cold-blooded creatures. And they are dependent for their metabolism, their growth and development. How fast or how slow that goes is dependent on your environmental temperatures. And the environmental temperatures, if they're warm, will drive these enzymes to work quite fast. And so you'll get growth and development very rapidly. If it's cool or cold, it can slow it, or it can halt it, or even if it gets too cold, it can actually kill the specimens, the little growing maggots or puparia.
So based upon whatever the heat, the temperature might have been in the trunk when this item was decomposing, it would either speed up or slow down decomposition and this entomological process you've talked about. Is that?
That's correct.
Now, at some point in the November, December of 2008, had you made arrangements and plans to come to Florida to inspect the vehicle yourself?
Absolutely.
Around that period of time, did you receive some surprising news from Florida?
Yeah, the remains of a little girl had been found.
Did you go ahead with your plans and travel to Florida during the week that the body was found?
Yes, I did. We'd already had plane tickets, so I chose to just go ahead and use those and come down a few days. I think I came down on the 16th of December. The body was found, and they were processing the scene sometime around the 11th, 12th, or 13th, and then continuing on. So I just waited until my tickets were good and didn't see any real need to be down here any quicker than that, because we had, I felt, adequate folks that knew what they were doing with the entomology and so forth. And so when I got down here, I had an opportunity to do what we'd planned to do at that time, plus other things, obviously.
Between the 11th and the date you came, will you continue to consult with law enforcement about collecting entomological evidence and how they could help you in your work?
Absolutely.
And when you came down, did you actually travel to the scene where the remains had been found and inspect some of the area?
Yes, I traveled to the scene. I also went to the impound yard where the vehicle had been impounded for a number of days, and talked with the impound, with the manager of the impound yard and the person that actually picked up the vehicle.
Did you also go to the medical, excuse me, the medical examiner's office and actually examine some of the evidence that was found with the remains?
Yes, I did. I made collections at the ME's office.
And through that process, were you sent, or did you take away from that a large number of entomological specimens from the scene?
We had specimens from the scene, and we had specimens from the medical examiner's office.
And did you also examine those items?
I certainly did.
Would you just describe to the jury what what the process is for examining an item of entomological evidence? What do you have to actually go through to do that?
Well, obviously, first of all, you need to maintain chain of custody and make sure that the samples are correct. And then once I've recorded what sample I was looking at, we have sample in sample vials based on protocols that my colleagues and I have established somewhere around 25 years ago or so. And then we will do a microscopic examination of the specimens, attempt to make identification to at least some level of the entomological taxa or group that it is found in. And then once we have the specimens identified to certain levels, then we can go ahead and begin to relate that species identification or group identification with known growth and development standards for those different species. In other words, species A may grow at 80 degrees constant temperature, it may grow at a certain rate. Species B may take 10 days longer, and so on. And so that was important if we could get a species identification valuation on this, and then we do our analysis and write-up based on how long we would expect those insect specimens to have been present on this remains.
Now, you mentioned before that decomposition is temperature dependent. Is the life cycle and growth of insects also temperature dependent?
Yeah, decomposition is temperature dependent. Insects are temperature dependent because this is all cold-blooded, and the enzymes are driven by those environmental temperatures that the remains or the carrion is placed in.
Now, when you
carrion placed in.
When you examined the entomological evidence from the scene and from the medical examiner's office, can you just tell the jury, summarize what you found?
I found a number of species and groups that I would have expected on a advanced decomposing remains. I found, of course, a few blowfly puparia again. I'm talking about this puparia as the cocoon stage of the life cycle of the flies. So I found at least 2 species of blowfly puparia. I found, of course, some of these gnat-like flies. And I found housefly relatives in the housefly group, Mussidae, that were present, 2 or 3 species there, or groups there, or genera per se. And then I found a real long grower known as the black soldier fly, Hermatia lucens. And these were all past the end of their growth and development. They had all long hatched out, left behind their telltale puparia, which I've found puparia in some cases that are hundreds, if not thousands of years old, so they can be very persistent and last a long time. And all of these were consistent with an advanced extended postmortem interval remains.
Do all of those insect remains that you found tell you a story about these remains, how they got there, at what stage they got there, and how long they've been there? Within
certain degrees, yes. Since we had gone clear through the life cycles of all of these species and specimens, we have established a minimum time, but it doesn't mean that it couldn't have been much earlier than what the minimum time suggested.
All right. First question, does the relative presence of different kinds of flies tell you anything about whether this body, in your opinion, was placed there quickly after death, or was there some delay?
Again, the specimens from the scene suggested in the absence of large numbers of the blowflies, the caliphorids, that most likely there had been an initial placement that excluded these guys right off the bat. Because had the body been placed initially, immediately upon death, out in this environment, we should have seen literally thousands of blowfly puparia left behind, and we didn't find that many.
Now, did you find flies, as you did in the trunk, that would reflect decomposition of 3 or 4 days, after 3 or 4 days, something like that?
There were Megacelia scalaris present on the in the area where the body, the remains were found.
Does that allow you to render an opinion about how far along in decomposition the body was when it was placed there?
Well, given that the point that we probably had initial decomposition in a place where we had excluded the initial colonizers and then placed out there, I have no question that that body had been out there for many months.
And when you say many months, can you give us, is that as specific a range as you can give us, just many months?
Based on the recovery from the scene, I believe I stated June and/or early July, something like that.
Now, when you say the body was deposited there, is it your opinion the body was deposited there as a skeleton, or that it was deposited there as a complete body, but just in the early stages of decomposition? What can you tell us about that?
Well, I believe since we did have blowflies, a few blowflies come in my opinion, that we did not have skeletal remains being deposited there. The insect fauna, the group of insects that we found, was consistent with a body that was partially decomposed, purging fluids, bloat, that in somewhere in that realm.
But still with soft tissue.
Oh yes, with considerable soft tissue.
Does the findings at the scene and the findings in the car, in your opinion, tell a consistent story?
Yes, they certainly do.
And what is that story?
That decomposition had begun, that the early colonizers had been excluded for the most part, that at some later date, a few days, and the body couldn't have been in the trunk of the car very long because of the progression of decomposition under those temperature regimes, that body would then had to have been removed and placed out and could have been initially placed where it was found, finally found, and it had to be quite fast and rapid.
No further questions.
Cross-examination.
May it please the court? Mr. Ashton. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, Dr. Haskell.
Nice to see you again, Mr. Baez.
Pleasure's all mine, sir. I want to take you back to the very beginning of this case and ask you in reference to your first knowledge or contact about this case. You actually first heard or were first consulted about this case with Dr. Voss, were you not?
I guess the initial contact would have been through Dr. Voss. He had, we were talking, I called him on another, I think I was talking about on another case that he helps me on a regular basis on decomposition and so forth. And he had mentioned that Michael Vincent had seen fruit flies come out of the trunk of the car.
And you had told him that those fruit flies could possibly be coffin flies.
They would be the forward fly group, yes.
Okay. And you and Dr. Voss are old colleagues.
We go back a good 25 years to the Body Farm in Tennessee.
So you know each other very well.
Well, I see him intermittently. I've had dinner at his house and so forth, yes.
And it's your understanding that Dr. Voss is a biochemist, correct?
I knew he was an anthropologist. I really wasn't sure how much biochemistry he had, but he studied biochemistry, and that's what he was studying back in the late 80s at the Body Farm. But I knew he was studying with Dr. Bass, the anthropologist there. So I was assuming he was getting his degree as an anthropologist.
As a what? I'm sorry.
Anthropologist.
Anthropologist. Okay. Do you recall testifying in your deposition that he was a biochemist?
Objection. Relevance. Collateral impeachment.
Sustain.
Now, the statements that you had made to Dr. Voss that these were possibly coffin flies, that was before you saw any evidence in this case, right?
No, you were correct.
Okay. And subsequent to that, Dr. Voss had given your name to Orange County, and that's when they contacted you directly. Is your understanding of that, correct?
I'm not sure I quite, I don't remember.
I'm sorry?
I don't remember.
Okay. Now, let's take your findings from the very beginning, if I can. I have a copy of your report. Do you have a copy of your report with you?
Yes, I do, as a matter of fact.
Okay.
And which this would be the August 28th?
Correct,
date?
the first report.
Okay.
Okay, so when you first received something, it's your understanding that you received items from the trash that was in the trunk of the car, correct? The first two vials that you
Well,
received?
I thought that it was from trash bag and trunk of car. That's what the samples suggest, yes.
Oh, okay. So it wasn't from the actual trunk, it was from the trash, correct?
That was my understanding.
Okay. And the flies that you found were the Magacilia scalarius, correct?
That's correct. A forward fly, Forward-A, yes.
And for those of us who aren't bug people, those are gnat-like type flies. They're very tiny.
They're very tiny.
They look like fruit flies. Some.
Obviously, they look like fruit flies to Mr. Vincent.
Okay. So if those are the kind of flies, like if I go out to a restaurant and I have some leftovers and I leave them in my car and I come back the next day and the car smells and I see these little gnat-like flies running around, those are the fruit flies?
I don't know. You'd have to collect them for me and I'd identify them.
Okay. But that's commonly what you see, correct?
I don't think so with leftovers from the restaurant because that's processed. That's processed food.
Okay. So if something's left in your car, you kind of see these fruit flies or in garbage. That's what Mr. Vincent thought he saw.
If we're talking garbage, that could be.
Okay. While we're talking about garbage and trash, the Magacilia scalarius is also found in trash, is it not?
Garbage. No.
Garbage. Okay, now we're doing that again. Okay. Magacilia scalarius is found in garbage, sir.
It's found in like I said, it eats anything. And it can be found in rotting seaweed. It can be found in decomposing vegetable material. It can be found in fungus. It can be found in dead insects. If you have a pile of insects, you might find it in that. You can find it about anywhere.
And I'm just going to put it forward. That's all right.
That's good.
Now, even in your report, you indicate that these flies, sorry, can everyone see that okay? Even in your report, you put down that these flies are also found in I want to use your exact word, other organic material. correct?
I didn't want to mislead you, sir.
I'm not saying you would, sir. So forward flies can be found in trash, correct?
Garbage.
Garbage. And, okay. And they were found and they were collected from a garbage bag.
And it says trash bag there.
Yes, sir.
You changed it.
Well, I crossed it out for you.
Well, I was looking at a trash bag.
Okay.
I think that's what I referred to, did I not?
Okay. So you find these in garbage bags and trash bags, and that's where they came from, correct?
These came from the trash bag from the trunk of the car, yes.
Then you asked CSI Vincent to inspect the car a second time, did you not?
Yes, I wanted to see if he could find some adults.
Correct. You wanted the adult flies to be able to make the species identification,
That's correct.
to be more scientific and more precise.
Yes.
Okay. And he checked the trunk, and that turned up negative results.
That's correct.
Okay. Then after that, he told you, hey, I remember I saw some more insect activity in the garbage or trash.
Trash bag.
Yes.
Yes.
And that was sealed, and he went in there and got it. Correct?
No, he got the package where it was sealed, sent it directly to me, and I opened it.
Okay. And he sent it to you, and that's when you were able to find more of these forward flies in the garbage.
Trash bag.
Trash, whichever one you want to call it.
Right.
Okay. So he basically sent you trash or garbage, and you found more of the same thing. But this time you found adult flies.
I found adults that made it possible to make a species identification.
Okay. And then at that point, and that was the conclusion of your evaluation of the materials of the car, right?
Not quite. I think I mentioned that we looked at paper toweling, and this is where the majority of the forward specimens were found.
Right.
And they were associated with the material that was, that I believed at that point was probably decomposition fluids because
No.
of the high numbers of these specimens on these paper towels.
Now, you also know that, of course, DNA can be grabbed from any cell material other than red blood cells, correct?
I know that DNA is prevalent in a lot of stuff.
Okay. And in fact, you can get DNA from some insects, can you not?
Well,
From some maggots?
The insects have DNA, and some of my colleagues have done research to be able to extract human DNA from mosquitoes, from bed bugs, from lice, and even maggots.
Okay. And these top paper towels weren't sent for DNA analysis, were they?
I don't know.
Okay. You didn't send them for DNA analysis.
I requested a biochemical assay on these to determine if we did have decomposition fluids on these paper towels.
My question to you, sir, is you didn't send them away for DNA analysis.
No,
Okay. Instead, you sent them to Dr. Voss,
that's correct.
your old colleague. Your old colleague.
My trusted colleague and,
Okay.
yes.
And then Dr. Voss, are you familiar with the actual studies that he did
Well, I've read several of his studies. He's done a number.
on the actual paper towels is what I'm referring to.
I believe I got information that it was adipocere.
Okay. No, my question is, sir, are you familiar with what exactly he did to determine whether that was adipocere? What tests he ran on it?
No, I trusted him to do the right test.
Okay, so you can't testify intelligently as to what actual exams were done and so forth from that. Just what he told you.
I can testify intelligently, but I will say that, no, I don't know.
Sorry, I'm not insulting you in any way. I'm just
I
saying.
wouldn't think so.
I'm just saying you can't give this jury any solid facts as to what exactly was done with these paper towels. Only what Dr. Voss told you the results were.
That's certainly correct.
Okay. Now, subsequent to that, you also found on this paper towel one blowfly leg. Correct?
That's correct.
Now, a blowfly leg was found in the garbage or trash
From the paper towel.
from the paper towels. Now, it's very common. Now, you stated that blowflies are the number one, I guess they're the most prominent of the early colonizers for decomposition, correct?
Absolutely.
But they're also found in your house.
I found one last week in my house.
Okay. And you can also find them in trash or garbage.
Only if we have unprocessed meat present. Sometimes some processed meat, but primarily unprocessed meat that would be in the garbage itself.
And these are the flies you can often find on your windowsill when you don't clean it for a while.
My wife does a pretty good job of cleaning my windowsill, so no, I wouldn't find them on my windowsills.
Not yours.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, right?
But houses will have some blowflies in them.
Okay. And what you look for as an entomologist are a large number of these blowflies, do you not?
Well, I can look for one, or I can look for thousands.
But my point is, when you usually have a decomposing body, there are generally speaking many of these blowflies, do they not?
That's correct.
And they lay hundreds and hundreds of eggs, rather.
Each female can lay up to 300 or 400 eggs, yes.
Okay. And it gets to the point when a body is decomposing that you will have thousands and thousands of eggs and maggots.
Tens of thousands.
I'm sorry?
Tens of thousands.
Tens of thousands, okay? And in this trash bag, all you could find, you couldn't even find a full one, you found a leg.
One of them lost her leg, I guess.
Yeah. And that is not unheard of to find a blowfly or a part of a blowfly in trash or garbage.
Or no blowflies in trash or garbage, yes.
But the answer to my question is yes, right? It's not unheard of.
Oh, no, it's not unheard of.
Okay. So this is everything that, as far as entomological evidence is concerned, that you were able to obtain from the trash, from the car. Were you given any other entomological items?
Yeah, we did have some. Later I examined some filters from vacuum cleaner where they had vacuumed the trunk of the car itself. I think before removal of the carpet, and there were wasn't a lot, but there were some forward flies consistent with Megacelia scalaris, that species, and some other carrion insects that were in the trunk of the car itself.
Like a mosquito?
Could have been.
Okay.
That's not
I
a
have
carrion.
the list. Would you like to see it, sir? Would that
Yeah, yeah.
refresh your recollection?
I think I have mine someplace, but that would.
May I approach you with this?
You may.
Okay, sir. Now, this was sent to you in wasn't it 2011, early 2011?
It could be.
Yes, okay. So almost 3 years later, you got the vacuumings of when they first processed the car on the 16th of July, correct?
That's correct.
So what happens is CSI gets there, they collect the car, after the garbage or trash bag's been removed, and they vacuum the entire car, and that goes into a filter, and that was sent to you.
Well, a filter interrupts the suction into it.
And you're
So
able,
collected in the filter, yes.
And as you mentioned, you were able to pick out a few more insects, correct?
Correct.
Not a great deal,
No.
just a few more. Okay. And this, of course, could be consistent with these falling out of the trash or garbage bag.
No, they could have been, that would be consistent with them coming into the decomposing fluids that were in the trunk of the car itself.
And also falling out of the trash, correct?
I don't think they were falling out of the trash.
Okay.
In
You
my
don't
opinion.
think, you don't, it's.
In my
it's-
opinion.
So it's your testimony, sir, that flies can get in the trash bag, but they can't get out, kind of like the Roach Motel.
Objection, move to strike.
Objection sustained. Objection sustained. No. Let's continue.
So it's your testimony, sir, that the flies can get in, but they can't get out.
No, the flies get in the trunk. They hadn't gotten to the trash bag yet.
Okay. But that's my question, sir. Is there any way for you to track the flies as to whether they got in the trash and then, or didn't make it in completely to the trash bag?
In my opinion, the collection from the vacuum cleaner was flies that had gotten into the trunk that hadn't gotten into the trash bag.
Okay. So you don't know if they ever made it in. You're just saying they didn't get
Obviously, they didn't get in because they were in the trunk.
in. Okay. Otherwise, they would have stayed there. They wouldn't have left.
Well, once they hatched out, the adults would have been leaving, and there were some adults here.
Okay. And again, this wasn't very many insects, correct?
No,
Now, part of your job is to do what's called a PMI, which is called a postmortem interval, correct?
that's correct.
And you do that on certain occasions in some cases, correct?
I do it on almost every case I've done.
And what that does is that allows you to see insects, both live and hatched, and the maggots that come from them, to be able to determine exactly how long a person might have been deceased.
That's correct.
Or in possibly in this case, how long an item or how long these insects would have been attracted to a specific item.
That's possible.
Okay. So on July 16th, 2008, when this car was collected, you would have had live insects, right?
Yes,
And you would have had hatched maggots and everything you needed to develop a post-mortem interval, correct?
yes.
And in fact, you could have been able to determine right down to the day as to how long that item had been in the trunk of the car.
Not within maybe a day, but normally our postmortem interval consists of a range of time to deal with the biological variability of natural occurring biological occurrences.
I guess what I'm trying to say, Dr. Haskell, is if you got something on July 16th, 2008, you could have tracked that back exactly.
Objection to the hypothetical of something. Hypotheticals must be based on facts and evidence.
Overrule at this point and let him finish answering the question.
Sir, if you had gotten entomological evidence on July 16th, 2008, you could have tracked that back almost to the day when that item was placed in the trunk of the car, correct?
Objection. The hypothetical is inspecific as to what entomological, from what source, of what type.
So just my hypothetical, I think. I
It
can.
had-
Overrule. Doctor, can you answer the question as phrased?
Could you rephrase that or ask it again, please? I'm
Sure,
sorry.
No problem. I understand.
Yeah.
If you got entomological evidence on July 16th, and you testified that you could pretty much track it back to more or less a day or two.
No, I said a range.
A range. You
Range.
could give a range. You could have traced that evidence back to a slight range as to when that item was placed in the trunk of the car. Could you not have?
Depends on what item we're placing in the trunk of the car.
Correct.
Yeah,
And we're talking about the phorids flies that you ended up finding, because that's really all you found, correct? Other than the blowfly leg?
that's correct.
Okay. But you weren't given items on July 16th, even though they were collected, were you, sir?
No,
In fact, you weren't contacted until September of 2008, correct?
that's correct.
Now, you got these items that were sent to you, and then in December you came down again and conducted an examination of the scene, correct?
That's correct.
And in fact, this scene was very thoroughly processed.
It was the most intensive scene processing I'd ever seen.
In your, I don't want to date you or age.
Don't want to make me too old, sir?
No, sir.
All right.
With all due respect.
About 30 years of
30 years.
30 years
So
of
in your-
forensic entomology work, yeah. This is the best.
Just a second. Mr. Baez. Okay, she cannot take down when both of you are talking. Question, then answer. Question.
Sir, it's in the 30 years that you've been practicing entomology, this scene was processed with a fine-tooth comb.
I've been doing entomology for over half a century. I've been doing forensic entomology for about 30 years, but yes, this is the best.
So you feel confident that what was collected there is all that could have been found? Or you feel very confident with the work done?
I was there and observed the collections and the sievings and the re-sievings, and I thought they did an excellent job.
And there was Orange County Sheriff's Department,
Yes,
the FBI response team,
yes.
okay, and they were there processing it. And when you got the blowflies, you actually did find blowflies there, correct?
Puparia,
Okay.
the cocoon stage.
And all of the blowflies were recovered from the bag at the scene, was it not?
I don't recall. I do have the listings of all of them.
Would you like to?
Most of them, I think most of them were covered from the medical examiner's office.
Would you like to look at your notes to see exactly?
Yeah,
where they were?
could I, if I have any blowflies from the scene? No, that's not quite right. I do have a couple specimens, Puparium, Chrysomia megacephala likely. Oh, specimens, Chrysomia megacephala. And I have a vocabulary spelling list for you too. Just didn't get it yet. And yeah, I've got 4 specimens of the caliphorids from, let's see, from the scene. Yeah,
Certainly not tens of thousands, correct?
that's right.
Okay. And a majority of what you found as it relates to early colonizers and blowflies were in the bag,
Yes,
with the exception of the four that you just mentioned.
right.
And just so the ladies and gentlemen of the jury know, and we all know, sir, when the early colonizers, I guess after the magazine, they then leave, correct? After they feed on something and then,
The maggots,
yes,
they can, they don't have to.
but they generally leave at the food source to go hide somewhere to, I guess, hibernate until they can.
No, they're doing their metamorphosis, a change of form.
Okay, so what you would commonly see, and what you do see, sometimes the hatched viparian all over as far as how far away from the location?
I've seen the maggot migration go out to over 100 yards away, depending on the situation.
So certainly you would see them away from where, and you would be able to collect hundreds of them, would you not?
You can.
Okay.
Sometimes you may not find.
In this case, all that were found were inside the bag.
Other than those that we mentioned.
And this is the main reason that led you to conclude, or this is part of the reason that the body decomposed elsewhere than where it was actually placed, correct?
That's correct.
So site A, or where the bag was found, was not the place where the body decomposed.
Yeah, it did decompose there.
Okay. Well, what you just said about the body decomposing elsewhere, that leads you.
Well,
That gives you, let me see if I can rephrase the question.
Right.
You have evidence, entomological evidence, and lack of entomological evidence that gives you the conclusion that the body decomposed somewhere else, or partially decomposed.
initially, yes.
Okay. And that's what you would base that on, correct?
Yes.
And all of the other entomological evidence, in fact, the majority of the entomological evidence are late colonizers, correct?
Yes.
These would be beetles and black soldier flies.
Yes.
And the reason you feel so confident with these findings, sir, is because you got to personally see how thorough the scene was processed.
Yes.
And you also indicate in your report that water would not have accounted for this lack of blowfly activity, correct?
If the water was rising and falling, yes, that would not. Yeah, if that's in my report, that's what I said.
Yes. And in fact, even if someone had tried to wash away the maggots, you would still see.
Objection assumes fact, not in evidence.
Sustain.
Because this is included in the expert's report.
Sustain. Try to rephrase the question.
Sure.
This phrase is improper.
I'm trying to rephrase it. Tell us, Dr. Haskell, does submersion or intentionally trying to water or wash away certain blowfly evidence, would that change your opinion?
Objection, compound assumes fact, not in evidence.
Sustain.
Okay. If I can have just a moment to find the expert's report, Your Honor.
You may.
Isn't it true, sir, that eggs or larvae, if eggs or larvae had been manually washed off or submersion of the remains occurred during the early portion of the period at the recovery site, that the initial blowfly colonization could be delayed, but this likely would not result in the reduced numbers as seen here?
If that's what I said, yes, yes.
Now, you wrote 2 reports, actually 3 in this case, correct?
Yes.
Okay. The first report was to cover the inspection of the items from the car,
That's correct.
and then the second report was to cover the items that were found at the recovery site.
That's correct.
Okay. And a third one was like a supplemental that you got from the vacuum sweepings of the trunk.
That's correct.
Okay. And you were hired in September of 2008, correct?
That's when I started working on the case, yes.
And that's when you did everything with the car?
To my recollection, yes.
Okay. And then in December 2008, you came down and did everything at the site?
And ME's office.
Right. And then you submitted a report. Do you recall when you submitted the report for your work in September 2008?
I think I submitted both reports, at least they're signed September 22nd, 09.
September 09?
Yeah.
And when did you do the report for December of 2008?
I think both of them were signed off at that time.
Okay. When you say signed off,
When I sign it and put the date.
that's when you sign them, and then you
sign it
send
and
them to
date
the
it,
prosecutor,
and then I
right?
send it, yes.
That's when you sign them and you send them to the prosecutor.
To my recollection, yes.
Okay. And both of these dates are almost a year after you did the car,
Yeah?
and 8 months or 9 months after you did the site work.
That's correct.
And the result was your opinion that you've testified here today.
That's correct.
Sir, you have been retained by the state attorney's office, have you not?
That's correct.
And how much have you been paid to date?
To my recollection, about 22, 23,000.
Okay. And that was before you've ever even had your deposition taken by the defense, correct?
The defense deposition?
Yes.
Oh, by the way, Mr. Baez, I haven't collected from that yet. You haven't. You
haven't
sent
billed
me-
for that yet.
Haven't sent me I have sent you a bill, sir.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I'm still waiting. I'm hoping I don't have to wait till next Christmas, you know.
The check's in the mail, sir.
Thank you. Coming from an attorney, I appreciate that and
No
and
problem.
understand it.
And that doesn't include your testimony, sir, does it?
No, it doesn't.
Okay. And how much do you charge for your testimony?
400 an hour?
Okay. And that includes travel time?
No, that travel time is 150 an hour. Case workup is anything that I have to do with research, whatever, is 200 an hour.
So by the time you've sent your final bill for this case, you would be in the area of $30,000, $40,000?
I don't know. I haven't worked up the time yet.
If I can have a moment, I'll see if I have. I have no further questions. Thank you, Dr. Haskell. It's a pleasure
You're very
seeing you
welcome.
again, sir.
If you could leave that up there, Mr. Baez, I'd like to use it.
Redirect.
If I can have a moment to clear it.
We've all been laughing through this trial about the difference between trash and garbage. Is there an actual...
That's not a laughing matter necessarily.
Well, that's what I wanted to ask you. Is there actually a difference in scientific terminology between trash and garbage?
In my opinion, there certainly is. To my thinking, garbage is primarily decomposing organic material, whether it's plant, whether it's stuff you throw out like your lettuce and your French fries or whatever, versus trash, which can be any non-organic stuff that you're throwing out, and have the trash guys pick it up.
Now, in this particular case, is that distinction significant?
Absolutely, because what we're dealing with is the insects that I'm dealing with. They don't go to an empty cardboard box. They don't go to an empty can of aluminum can. They go, if there is organic material, these little guys, these little phorids, will go to that and colonize and try to raise their kids in that.
And you're aware of the contents of the trash bag?
That's correct.
And was there any food in that trash bag?
Not that I could see at all. It was trash. It was inorganic materials, and they weren't decomposing.
So empty soda cans,
Correct.
pieces of paper,
Correct.
empty food containers with no food.
Correct.
Did you find these forward flies in anything other than the apple syrup on the towel?
Of course, there were some loose in the plastic bag itself, the white plastic bag. But the majority of the phorids that I found were on those paper toweling, and in my opinion, that is the adipocere was the source. And in my opinion too, I think that it's very likely that rather than the phorid flies, mother flies coming in and, oh, here's some adipocere on this paper towel, I think that a number of these specimens could have been picked up in the fluids when they tried to clean that material up. Eggs and larvae, because they're very tiny, could have been swept up, mopped up with that as the paper towels are used to clean up the material. That's my opinion.
So the fly eggs and larvae that were in the fluid in the trunk, if the paper towels were used to clean it up, would have gone with the fluids into the garbage bag.
Absolutely, and that's why they were successful in growing to adulthood through their life cycle in those paper towels.
Now, even if the phorid flies were not attracted to human decomposition, they would have to be attracted to decomposition of something.
Absolutely.
And
It could be plant decomposition. It could be any animal carrion.
but was there any plant decomposing in that bag?
No.
Now, the council has brought out the interesting absence of the early decomposable flies, either in the trunk or at the scene. Do
Correct.
you agree that there was an unusual lack of those flies both at the scene and in the trunk?
Yes.
Is there any explanation for that other than that the flies couldn't get to her?
We have exclusion, and then the time passed where the food material was no longer attracting mother flies to come in and lay eggs.
So even if the body had started to decompose at another location and been moved, would the flies have and larvae have come with the body?
That is possible, yes.
But there don't seem to be that many.
No. And the few that were there, I mean, that one leg could have been from a mother fly that laid a few eggs while she was there. I mean, one mother fly can lay up to 400 eggs. And we certainly didn't have 400 puparia.
Now, just so we're clear here, you indicated that your opinion was that a portion of decomposition had occurred at another location. I just want to make sure we're not confused about that. Are you talking about the 3 or 4 days of decomposition at another location?
That's correct.
Right. So you're not talking about a body almost skeletonized being moved to this location?
Absolutely not.
No further questions.
Recrosses to those issues and those issues alone.
Sir, you weren't present when they collected the trash or garbage, were you, sir?
No.
And trash or garbage depends on the person and how they interpret what it is, correct? You're just giving us your definition of what you
That's
consider
my
different.
opinion of what the difference between trash and garbage would be.
But your definition could certainly be different than mine.
It probably is.
And it could certainly be different than Mr. Ashton's.
Could be that too.
Okay. Now, again, you weren't present when this bag was collected, were you not?
No.
And you don't know if it was soaking wet with organic material or not?
There's nothing to suggest that it was.
No.
Your Honor, may I publish Defense Exhibit C? I think both photographs have been admitted in evidence.
If it's C, it hadn't been admitted in evidence.
Well, I don't think both have.
You want to use it as a demonstrative aid
Yes, sir.
and reference it
Yes,
to the two exhibits that.
I don't have an objection to showing that. The photos
Okay,
taken
there are
evidence for the
photographs
state. Show it to the
of two states exhibits. You may approach.
By the way, sir, have you ever inspected this trash or garbage?
Yes, I looked at some items when I was down on the 16th or 17th of December.
And the trash and evidence that you inspected,
Your Honor, I thought we were going to show it to the witness, Judge.
I'm trying to show it to everyone.
Well, can I get to where I can see it then? If I may, Judge. May I move?
Yeah, you may move.
Thank you.
You probably need to show it to him first so he can see what he's looking at if you're going to ask
It's
him
a long way
questions.
over there, Your Honor.
Okay.
Why don't you show it to him first so he can see what's on it since you're going to be asking him questions?
Yes, the item of trash that you inspected were these items, correct?
But I did, yeah, but I looked at obviously I had the bag at my laboratory.
You had this bag, correct?
Yeah, and the paper towels.
And paper towels here,
Mm-hmm.
and these items here is what you looked at.
That's
Just
correct.
a second.
Yep.
Here are the two items,
Thank you.
and then you can use the demonstrative aid.
Let me identify for the record, Dr. Haskell, the photographs. Perhaps would you just put them on the view screen so everyone can see?
If they can pull them up and put them up.
This will be brief. So I don't think I want to use them.
Okay, go ahead.
States Exhibit 128 and States Exhibit 133. 133 is the actual items of evidence that you inspected, correct?
That's correct.
And you did not inspect them, the items of evidence as they were in item 128, correct?
What, okay, refresh, what do you mean as they were? You mean like this?
The condition of photograph 128.
Probably not.
May I publish to the jury, Your Honor?
Yes?
And you would agree, Dr. Haskell, that the items on 133 are wet and moist?
I don't know. I,
You can't make that determination.
Objection asked and answered. The photograph speaks for itself.
Overrule, he can answer the question if he can.
You can't make that determination, sir, by looking at this photograph that these items are wet and moist.
I don't know.
When you inspected the trunk of the car, you didn't do any tests to see if there was easy access when the trunk was closed, did you not, sir?
No.
Okay. So you don't know how difficult it would have been for blowflies to get in the trunk of that car, since you really never tested whether there were any openings that a blowfly could get to.
No.
No further questions.
Just one. May I have that board, please? You see any organic material in this photograph?
Nope.
No further questions?
May the doctor be excused.
I have one question. Is this photograph spread out as the other photograph?
I'm sorry?
Are these items spread out like the left photograph?
Obviously not.
So you don't know what's in there, correct? Because you, of course, you never.
Well, to have organic material to the extent that we would have the decomposition would be a pretty good pile of garbage.
My question to you, sir, is you can't testify as to what's in there since you never saw it. You can't, sir.
Well, I saw the items when they were inventoried.
My question, sir. These items here, you can't testify as to what's in there because you weren't there, you didn't inspect them at that time.
No, I didn't do it at that time.
May the doctor be excused.